Nerd alert, I'm about to talk about a book and a board game all based off of Red Rising. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy, and today I get to show you Red Rising. Look at everything that you get in the box. Now, this game was sent to us to review by Stonemaier, and so I recently got into reading fiction books. And when I say recently, I mean pandemic, somewhere in there. I had a little bit of time, like a lot of us had, and I decided that I wanted to try to read The Hobbit. And so I read The Hobbit and fell in love with it. Then I read Lord of the Rings, and then I read all kinds of other stuff. I just fell into this world. Star Wars books, Project Hail Mary, just all kinds of stuff that I just fell in love with. And which is crazy for me because I have not read since I was in high school when they forced you to. And so I had to do the book report or at least read the Cliff Notes and try to pass the test. And so I kind of gave up on reading altogether. And then pandemic hits, I had a little bit of time on my hands and I thought, why don't I try this reading thing again? And I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm kind of addicted to it. I bought myself a Kindle and I download books from my library. It is just... I love it. So when I heard that Stonemaier was making this a new game that was based off of a book, I had to download the book. I had to read it. And so I read the first chapter of Red Rising and I was hooked. I love the whole premise behind this book. Basically, Earth has, Earth is dying. It's one of those stories. So we go off to Mars and we're trying to terraform that planet. And there are these people called the Reds. All humans, I guess, are divided into different classes. And the Reds are at the very bottom and they're in the middle of Mars mining, trying to get this helium-3 so that they can give their lives to save the future of humanity. Well, to their horror, they find out that while they've been down in the middle of Mars trying to save humanity, up on top, they have completely terraformed it and life is thriving and growing and going across the galaxy. And these Reds did not know it at all. And so without spoiling any more of the book, the basic idea is that these Reds are now rising up and they're going to try to overthrow it all and let the world know that they know and all that kind of stuff. And it is so good. I loved the book. So I actually read the book before I got into the board game. So I'm coming into this, my complete perspective on this board game is definitely with the book in my head. It's in there. And I cannot help but think about the book when I play this game. So if you love the book, will you like the board game? I'm going to give you a quick overview of the game, and then you can decide if this game matches your expectations. Do you think you would like it? Do you want to buy it? And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my buy it, play it, hate it rating. So I'll tell you green, go buy it. White, maybe you wouldn't buy it, but you definitely play it. And then red means don't buy it, don't play it because you hate it. And just know that my bias throughout this entire video is, one, they sent me a review copy, so I didn't pay for it. And then two, I loved the book. So am I going to love Red Rising? Let me show you what's down on the table. So this is what you get in the box with Red Rising. It is basically a card game, and they give you 112 of these character cards. And some of these cards are going to be people that you recognize from the book, so you might know these characters right here. And then other ones are just generic, like here's a psychologist or a loan shark. But like I said, there might be characters that you know, like Mustang. And so the basic idea is that you are going to be taking cards from your hand, playing them down onto the board in different locations, and then picking up cards from those locations. There are 4 basic ways to score points in the game. So you're going to go down this fleet track here, and you could score points the further down that you get. You're going to score points based off of who has the most in the Institute. Whoever has the most is going to score 4 points per, and then it kind of goes down with 3 points and 2 points. And then another way that you can score points is by getting this precious helium-3. These are worth 3 points apiece at the end of the game. I lied. There's actually 5 ways to score points. Then whoever has the sovereign token is going to get 10 points, and then based off of the cards. And this is a card game, so the main mechanism in scoring points is going to be off of these cards that you get. Now, on the rule book, it says that a good game is 300 points. And so you're going to, after you play the game a number of times, start to figure out the best ways to get that 300 points plus. Now, it plays up to 6 people. There are 6 different classes that you can, 6 different houses that you can play as. Each one of them has their own special, unique ability, and you can play this game solo. So they give you solo cards in the game, and although it's a little kind of weird in how they set it up, once you get it set up, these cards are really simple to understand. They have no fluff. It's just, what do you do? How do you move the cards around? And as a guy that loves solo play, I really enjoyed it. It's not really fancy, but it keeps the rules kind of out of the way, and you just move cards around, and it simulates multiple players around the game, because this game thrives on picking up and placing cards down. So this solo automa here really simulates that. The cards are moving around the table, and the cards that were out there before might not be there when you go back, and I really like that. So how do you play the game? The basic idea is you start with these 5 cards in your hand, and these cards, like I told you earlier, could be specific characters in the game, but mainly they have victory point values in the top here. And let me show you that. They have some victory point values in the top. So at the end of the game, if this card is in your hand, that's how many points that you will get. And you could see that that could wildly change based off of the cards that you have. So if you have this gold, it's going to be worth 30 points. This one's only worth 10 points. But then there are 2 other things that happen on the card. Right here, this line with that symbol shows you that when you play this card down, something happens. And then underneath that, there will be some other, typically an end game condition. This is something you get to do at the end of the game. This tells you a penalty that you'll have at the end of the game. And then this tells you extra additional points that you could get if the condition is met. So on your turn, you're simply going to be playing a card down. You have this choice. You could play a card down for its playability, or maybe to get rid of it out of your hand. And then the second thing that you do is then you pick up a card. So on your turn, you'd say, okay, I'm going to play this Obsidian here, and then I'm going to pick up this Sponsor over there. So I would get the benefit of whatever this lay down ability is. And then when I pick up, I have to pick up from one of the other locations. There are 4 different locations on the board: Jupiter, Mars, Luna, and the Institute, which if you've read the book, then some of those are pretty familiar. But regardless, when you pick up in one of those locations, you get to advance on a track. So Jupiter over here allows you to go up this blue track. Mars will allow you to get more helium. Luna will allow you to take the sovereign token that triggers your house ability. And then the Institute allows you to place a cube up here. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most will get 4 points for every cube that they have. So at the end of the game, you're going to take your little tally sheet if you want and go through all of this along with all of the cards that you have, adding their scores and then doing any tricky end-game stuff that goes on, and you score some points. Whoever has the most wins. The time frame for this game is 45 to 60 minutes. 60 minutes if you're learning it, 45 minutes or less if you have a bunch of people that have played this game a lot, because it is not complicated to understand. I'm playing a card, picking up a card. Now there's a few other things that might change that. If you don't want to play a card, there's other ways that you could do that by drawing a card. There's a little die that you could roll that would tell you the bonus that you're going to get. There's some of that involved, but that's the basic idea. Play a card, pick up a card, and you're playing a card for the ability and picking it up for the bonus that gives you something out there. So With that said, that's kind of what you can expect from this game is, ooh, I'm going to play this card for that ability, and ooh, I want to hold on to this card because it's worth a lot of points at the end, or ooh, I don't want to get any of those cards out there because I have this special end game condition that says I can only be with golds and obsidians and silvers, you know, so that's kind of how the game, those are the decisions that you're going to be making. But like I said, 45 minutes maybe, once you really learn the game, it is kind of a fast-paced game. So don't expect heavy Euro, don't expect complicated decisions. It's just, what do I have in my hand and what could I do with that? What's the best synergy to play here? You will be rewarded the more that you play this game. You'll start to learn what cards do I need to get rid of, or what cards do I want to have in my hand, or like the oranges, they have a special ability that will let you copy the name of any card in the deck. So if you have Darrow and you need EO, or if you have Darrow and you need Mustang, then you could get an orange in your hand and that would count for one of those for some end game abilities. The Sovereign token's kind of fun because it will move around the board between people. The more players you have, the more that is going to happen because people want to use their Sovereign ability, the ability of their house, and that's kind of cool. So the big question that I had is, if you love Red Rising, will you like this game? I think that you will. So here's the experience that I had because I loved the game, or loved the book, is when I'm flipping through the cards and I come across somebody that I knew from the book, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Look, there's Mustang, and that's awesome. And then, oh, that's not what I thought she looked like in my head, you know, and that's cool. And oh, there's Octavia, you know, and that's the experience that you're going to have with the game as far as that goes. Now, I haven't read book 2 and book 3, so I don't know how that works out. But as far as book 1 goes, I did not get the feeling of that book in this game at all, other than this is a game that uses the Red Rising theme. This is not a game that reflects the Red Rising book, if that makes sense. It is a game that uses that theme, not a game that was made to make you feel like the book. That's my opinion. I just don't get that experience. Now, there are houses and the abilities and the back and forth of using cards. If you like stretched it, yes, okay, maybe it's in there. And there are classes and the different colors and how they interact. That is very thematic. And as far as you know why the golds are there, and you know why the reds and the different abilities of those classes, that all makes sense. And it is in there, but it's not overly like, I did not feel like I was playing Red Rising the book. I felt like I was playing a game with the Red Rising theme. Okay, I've said that a bunch, and that's kind of my thought. So, but anyways, I did enjoy the game. I thought that it was good. My buy it, play it, hate it rating on this game is a white. I think that you would enjoy playing this game, especially if you love the theme. Do you have to have this in your collection if you're a Red Rising fan? Probably, because there are no other Red Rising board games, so I need to get this. But if there were more games that came out with the Red Rising theme, the best comparison that I thought of is, if you're a Star Wars fan and there are lots of Star Wars games, I don't know if this is one that you would have to have in your collection. Now, that is not the case with this because I don't know of any other Red Rising games. So, of course, if you love the book, then you gotta have this. But for me personally, if I played this before and then I had to put my money on the line, I don't know if I would have it. I would probably say if my buddy had it, I'll play his copy, or that's neat and I like the artwork and stuff, but it just didn't pull me in enough to say, gotta have this game. But I would play it with you. And I actually am interested in playing this game more because I want to see more of the synergies and more of the ways that these cards interact and what you could do with them. It's a good game. There's nothing really wrong with this game other than I probably wanted a little bit more going into it, and I probably wanted to experience the book a lot more than I did. So there you go. I'm going to stop rambling. That is Red Rising, the board game. Thanks for watching the Board Game Closet, and we'll see you next time.